Actually, I guess evil Jonathan Rogers tried to fix this wolf and nerf it, but I managed to break it again. And yeah, we're doing basically millions of DPS. That's just crazy. So this skill goes without cooldown forever, and actually it got 400 more DPS right now, 400% more. Hail and Meshes Kingdom, welcome to Path of Excel 2. Today I woke up and saw a bunch of patch notes. I guess me and every other Wolf player does not approve this stuff. I saw lots of complaints about Lunar Blessing nerf. Well, let me explain why it's not a nerf and actually it's insanely good and powerful buff. So let's take a look at this patch notes. Lunar Blessing now creates extra moonbeam at all gem levels. Now let's see how it works. It's Warcry now, as we can see, and you become Ice Werewolf and you shoot moonbeams whenever you attack with melee attack, and these moonbeams target enemies while at the same time targeting additional enemies around you. Right now it's 6 other targets, so I guess it was 5. It's a buff, but it's not a huge buff, you don't care about it a lot. Coolest part, it's now a war cry, and that actually changes everything. But here is the problem part of the patch notes. Lunar Blessing cooldown now recovers while buff is active, and cooldown has been increased from 10 seconds to 22 seconds as a result. So previously we're using this rage, and there was no cooldown, but I fixed it pretty easily with second point support gem. With this gem we will have less cooldown recovery, 40% less, so technically this 10 seconds becomes 14 seconds, but now when we use the skill it goes on cooldown instantly and have twice as many cooldowns. Therefore, in combination with prolonged duration, that gives more skill effect duration, and cooldown recovery to kinda remove downside, we're getting 11 seconds cooldown with almost 10 seconds duration. So technically we was able to use the skill every time of the cooldown, but only if we get at least a little bit of rage, because the skill gets duration from rage. It's spending rage to get duration basically. Now what we have right now, there is a cooldown, so as you can see it going on, and we are right now in this form, so we like getting the buff, but when our buff gets off, I can basically instantly pop this form again. And in the maps when we get at least like 2 hits on enemies, so just a little bit of rage, actually there is no cooldown at all, so we can use it all the time. You definitely won't believe me, because why would you, but let me show you. That's Lunar Assault. We will go in, we will trash mobs, and as you can see my Lunar Assault is actually a lot bigger, and now buff will be off in like few seconds and we instantly turn it on. Of course if we get mana, this guy just trashed my mana, but that's basically how it works, yeah. So this skill goes without cooldown forever, and actually it got 400 more DPS right now, 400% more, because of changes in support gems, and this buff is insane. So yeah, right now Wolf is just broken. Actually, I guess evil Jonathan Rogers tried to fix this Wolf and nerf it, but I managed to break it again, and yeah, we're doing basically millions of DPS. That's just crazy. So how it works, I guess you're curious how this stuff works. Basically, previously, to make this skill work infinitely and give us insane power, because it gives 63% of all damage gained as cold damage, which is just insane, actually 73 with quality. So it's just insane how much power we gain from the skill, and we were supposed to use 3 support gems just to make the skill work, so we can pop it all the time without any cooldown. Right now we got cooldown of 22 seconds, so we need to kind of work our way through and reduce this cooldown. To reduce this cooldown, we can use cooldown recovery, yes. But, as you can see, I don't have any cooldown recovery support gem, and still I'm able to use it basically without cooldown. Instead, I changed all my support gems to concentrated area for more area damage, elemental focus for more elemental damage, elemental armament 3 for more elemental damage. It's actually 36% more damage based on each element on enemies they hit, and we're hitting with all elements all the time, and close combat because it helps to melt bosses insanely fast. And how I managed to pull it off? Well, secret is of course pretty smart passive skill tree. We were forced basically to change a little bit of stuff, and since it's Warcry now, and it's definitely is, but it's not completely like Warcry. I'm still waiting until they will give us ability to use Zerfi Infamy on this stuff, so it will have some cooldown based on glory, but with full glory we will be able to increase area of effect and deal 50% more damage. It's just insane, and this works on attacks and Warcries. This skill is definitely Warcry, but it does not work on this skill, so I don't know. It is what it is. Still waiting. GGG please. Anyway, passive tree. So how it works. Basically, I'm using red, which is skill set number 1, for all my basic attacks, and I'm having like attack damage, immobilization build up here, stuff like that. I tried to use these nodes with armor, energy shield and stuff for my Warcries, but why I changed it? Because basically every time we use Warcry, it halves my energy shield, so we need to regain it fast. Not a big problem though, but again, a little bit of problem. So instead I'm using a little bit of nodes here and there for my weapon set number 1, and instead that's weapon set number 2. So look over here what you want to have infinite duration. So infinite duration goes like this. First of all, we need to take this node over here, and it will be a Warcry speed, which is also insane. It removes downside. Normally when you use this Warcry, it's so slow. Actually, I can easily show you. So I will cast it without weapon set, and that's how it looks like. Basically, it's like a little bit slow. It lasts just 5 seconds, as you can see, and insane cooldown. So we need to wait half a minute. Jeez. I could farm divines in this time, but anyway, I just pop it and now it's almost no cooldown. Yeah, because here we're getting Warcry speed. First of all, we're crying a lot faster. We're getting Warcry cooldown recovery rate, which lessens our cooldown. So we get 22 seconds basic cooldown. Now it's just around 16. Also, we have an increased damage for each time you Warcry recently. What is interesting that our second Warcry is actually also on Warcry set, on weapon set number 2 for me. So I will Warcry, and now take a closer look at our damage. So my main shred is this, weapon set number 1. It looks like it lower damage than weapon set number 2, but it's fine. Weapon set number 2 is not usable for me. And now it's 36k damage, but if I use Warcry, it will be 37k. Still, when I switch to weapon set number 1, well, we're actually having this amount of damage. 48k, but if I use Warcry and then attack, it's still 48k, so yeah, we're not benefiting from this node. Just so you know, still we need this cooldown recovery rate, and basically we're taking all cooldown recovery rates, increasing Warcry speed, and Warcry will debilitate enemies. Enemies will have reduced movement speed and reduced damage, and also we will have increased area of effect for Warcries. This actually increases area of effect for our attacks, and that's why Lunar Blessing is so crazy big. And increasing Warcry speed is really nice. Then you need to take a little trip, and my tree actually helps. So if you're using different tree from different builds, you need to adjust yourself, but basically here I'm splitting my sets. Skill effect duration for Warcry and skill speed for basic attacks. Also I prepared skill speed will be based on life costs a little bit, and it will help us if GGG will give us ability to use that insane lineage support gem. But basically we're going over here and getting cooldown recovery rate and Warcry speed over here, and long trip from the top part. So long trip from the top part goes over here for increased damage, but mostly for increased area of effect. Still, 40% increased damage with our cries is insane. And again, this damage is kind of snapshots as far as I can understand mechanics. So basically your Warcry take a snapshot of your passive skill tree, it takes all these bonuses and using them. So this creates insanely overpowered stuff. I used basically all my 24 points. There's another like options where you can drop points. See, by the way, there's another options where we can drop points. Actually, this skill speed is cool, but we will deal a lot more damage if we will be able to ignite enemies, so getting a little bit of damage as extra fire damage is great. And now technically my build is finished. Yeah, it's finished, it's insanely broken, it clears everything, it destroys everything. But honestly today I made it even more broken, it just completely bonkers. This wolf destroys every type of content. And if you want to dive deeper on how this build works, the video is on the screen right now.